My name is Schwarz, and this one is the last documentary that I'm doing about climate change for now. And I'm showing this picture because I had a picture before with myself that was my face was very damaged with the chemotherapy that I had, and I chose the sun. And from that time, I have a fascination for it. And sun has been the same for thousands of years. And for climate, the problem is Earth and the people who are here who are changing it. When I speak about the sun God, I don't believe in God or any gods. I just believe heaven is our life here in earth, and hell is when we die, we go down to the earth or we are going to be burned. And I'm proud to do this job because from coming to produce milk, I finished to do a very different work, and is well prepared for now and for the future with climate change. About the people, heaven and hell, I think many of people are in purgatory. Is between heaven and hell is the life of our people in our earth. Just a few have the rights to be strong. This is me. I work in timber, and that experience with timber is part of majority of my job, my experience of life. This photography is from 1994. I had a good look. I don't look so much different, but I still look now much old, and no one likes that. But we need to accept life like it is. I accept life and my time of living. Climate change is this. This work are going to be methane, the name, methane and pollution. And this is one of the problems that we have. Also, we have two. One, we are losing this part of white snow, and it gives the opportunity for the methane that is under the snow to go to the atmosphere. And the other problem is the missing of water that we are going to the future when it disappears, because in every country they are where we can get the water. Another one, how you see, how can we methane, and these things will be a lot of it. When the ice goes down, the methane goes to the atmosphere, and it's worse than carbon dioxide. But it's what is happening now in the world. Another part to see what is happening. And this is a situation that we cannot change. We can change the carbon, I go to show in the future pictures, but we cannot solve this one. This one is the worst thing that is happening in our earth. And in the future, are going to change all our climate. Is already, but in the future is much worse. I did all the jobs and argument for you to see mainly agriculture, electricity, because this part I go to show that it's possible to make electricity in a very low price and solve the problems, the majority of our problems we have with the energy. The problem with my work is we can change, but we are going to lose a lot of jobs. Let's say this work finished to change the world economy if it's done. This is one of the pictures that any electricity producer, wind, nuclear, coal, need it. It's just to show we need to transfer from what kind of electricity we do for our lines, for houses and factories. is 3 pictures: a small engine, a generator, a modern generator from Siemens. In this work, they can be big or small, because this gives the opportunity to produce electricity in any place. You can produce electricity in a capital, in a roundabout. If you have cables to use a lot of electricity, you can do it. There is no danger at all. And you can produce electricity anywhere. We don't need cables to transport electricity like we have now, because you can produce electricity locally. Just the grid can correct the things. This is, I think, a petrol diesel engine. You see, the man is small. This is big. Why I have this? Because in my experience in the sawmill, the machine who cuts the timber is an engine with 150 horsepower. And it was every time a surprise for me and a fascination to see, when we switch on, how it went from 0 to 500 or more. I don't know really, because I forget if it was in volts or not, but it was a huge quantity of electricity used to connect. After it was connected, from 150 horsepower, it went to 7.5 powers. How you see, is from the engine with cutting timber that I took the idea of making electricity using I forget, but my memory is just worse and worse. Anyway, it was the idea for producing electricity by electricity using this machine to begin this machine to work, and after to replace for a small engine who can go on the inertia of the engine, because you cannot keep the inertia from engine working all the time, because they are going to reduce quite fast. But if you use, like I'm saying, from 150 to 7.5, you can have that way of producing electricity with a very small engine. Let's say you are here speaking about 7.5 to 150. That means it's the difference that are going to be out of the line, and to produce that electricity, the generator are going to make electricity for this one. I'll say all the electricity comes from one place, the big generator. You can now see my other programs. My other programs have another thing: bread and tires, and fish. Because bread and fish, I did it thinking in the people who are in purgatory. Because lots of people in the world don't have, and it's more than 50, don't have enough protein. And you can produce protein a very simple way that can be for all the people on Earth. And in the future, with the breaking of the crops that you can have in 10 years old time, it will be very important for each country thinking about how to get protein for people. Because if we have a failing of crops we had in the past, don't think you have enough crops for more than 10 years, but the governments cannot buy the food. And with giving food, what's money? And it's something that each country must begin to think how to feed their population without importing things. Because in the future, if they have problems, they can buy food, cereals. But the cereals will be with a very high price. No one is doing anything for free. This is a problem that we have in our world. Now we have electric cars, hydrogen cars. You can say that we are moving, but we didn't move in the tires. And I have this picture here. I have one part only for tires to say, just changing this part that you are seeing here from an old tire to replace this part. Here can be done with a different material that I call backlit, in a different shape for these things, design, but we can have a tire 3, 4, 5 times with more time that we have now. It's just the government needs to change that, because any company for tires are going to do it without being forced to do it. Or new ones who are working all in this situation can begin to do it. I took first this thing because I live in UK, and I noticed for plastic. People here don't know how to recycle. We need to have more information. And because in Western we just do a very few recycling for plastic, maybe 3-7%. The rest go to another countries that are going to need transport from one part to another one, and people need to have better information what kind of plastic they can put here. Also, one of the problems with pollution that many times people speak that plastic goes to the sea, everything is with the plastic, is only one reason for that, is that the governments are not giving anything to recycled materials. It's why people have to throw it away, because they don't have anything where they can put the rubbish, all the rubbish, domestic, plastic, paper, anything. They don't have, or they burn it, or they throw it. It's a government problem, not properly a problem from the people. It's the missing of these things that are doing the plastic in the sea, that so many people think, but no one speaks about the governments. They need to have these things for the people. And for rubbish too, because it's dangerous to have any treatment for rubbish goes to the waters, contamination waters that people need to drink. This is a picture about pollution. We don't see anything for pollution, but there is one thing here for pollution, is the road. Because the road is made by crews. It's the crew that makes the plastic that is here. Having plastic of this, you are filling the world with crews. Just to say, when people don't think these things are not important, they are important, because you are going to left all if you finished living in the earth, and the earth still goes on, but are going to be polluted with crews. Because all of this is crews. When people get on plastics, you must think about the roads too. You need to finish the plastics, you need to finish the roads, you need to do that things. I have one thing for plastics too. This is the first time I had a contact with a producer of plastic. They have only one machine doing these gases. And they recycled the plastic to do these gases, but it was from the broken or with problems when they introduced, they recycled their own plastic clean to do the glasses again. Because recycling plastic is not easy. The problem of the plastic speaks more about that. Now is another thing for methane. I recommend for you to see the true danger of natural gas. This shocked me to beat the winch. In the past, I listened many times this man, and not now much. But it shows what is happening in North America, United States, maybe in Canada, I don't know, and in Europe, is the damage of the tubes that transport gas. The gas that you are burning at home for cooking and eating are methane. And that is worse than dioxide because you make dioxide burning from methane. And this is killing our planet. Like I show you the first with snow. We have one more, that is what people are doing with the tubes that we have done, utilized many years from now in the Western countries, and now they begin to be in this way. This is why gas needs to be changed for electricity. We have solutions for electricity now. Another one, justice is in the, I put here because I think it's viral maniacs. I think it's right, is really there. I find so much that is difficult to understand how we have so many in the sea. It was in the Mexican Sea, but now it's in the American Sea, and this is part of America problem. Thousands of abandoned oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. Now it's Gulf of America, and it's America problem. You see, also many things that these things are not properly closed. The methane are still going up to the atmosphere from these things. I say, this is unmade. But the snow, you cannot change. The unmade, you can still stop them. Not the snow. It's now we have too much high temperature, you cannot stop it at all. In the plastics, I was speaking with my experience of painting. I didn't speak about paint really, but another way of plastics that we have with timber. And this is the rubbish that we use every day, and we get a lot in the painting lines. This is a modern painting line. It's much better than the water painting lines. But still, the tubes are taking material outside. We had one of these things in the factory where I worked before. And some sawdust go. We have a filter outside. But it's not only the dust, it's all the chemicals go to the atmosphere from these tubes in gas. Let's say painting is not an easy thing, or like you see here, lots of paint goes to these parts here. We need to clean all of these times, 1 week or 2 weeks time, clean with a lot of rubbish to throw away. Or say, painting lines are not, when we see a product that is timber painted, it's like to have timber with plastic, it's the same thing. Just plastic don't make any pollution. It can be from crude, but it's a sub-product and it's very cheap. Is why we have so many plastic in everything, is the price. And is one way to cut pollution in the world is using plastic, not paint. One of the problems that we have, water pipes, you see, I have in agriculture one of speak about this too. We have treatments of water, you see. Not all, now you can have clean water coming from these things without microbes, because you use proper UV light to kill the microbes in these situations. But I took this picture to another thing, because I have another one is called Fertilizers. If you subscribe my channel, you are going to see lots of things speaking. One of them is fertilizers, because you can take the mud from here and using it for fertilizers. Why the soil rapidly dying from many things that we are doing. In some ways, sometimes we did crops in the past, we stopped doing them because it was not economical, and the land, it was without any protection, and now is outside. And this is what the United States are good, is to do this to their land. Let me see this thing. I begin to have an attack from the virus that I've been having it. And I think some people or government think I cannot do this. I think it's the English government. That's what we can do. Yeah, I think I was here. Now it's over here. It's over here. Yeah, I come to the back. It was the virus that don't want I do these things. The ring of fire is the big problem. Volcans. It's not only the gas they throw away, it's the dust that goes to the atmosphere and can stop the sun. And it's these things that made the missing of crops and people dying without food in the past in many regions. It's the worst thing that can happen for having proper food. First, today, if you have electricity with a low price, you can do it inside for many things, but not plenty for everybody. And is the worst thing that can have our world air is that situation. And one vulcan working, you see. We have many now. The climate is warming. I don't know why, but we have a lot of volcans begins to make eruptions. That means is one more pollution goes to the atmosphere with the chemicals of them. With the man and the nature like this, and the snow is just every time bigger and bigger. Is why I think in 10 years really the problems begin to, we are noticing them now with lots of billions damage mainly from water, but in the future will be much worse in 10 years time. This is water going to the fields and can kill the crops that you have there if you have too much water. Like here, you see what people are doing, try to save their things, because the water is coming so fast, people now don't have so much time, and lots of people are dying with these situations. This is another thing, this is from the Mexico Gulf. It's a kind of algae that they consider that is in the measuring. But I took these things because we don't know if this algae is good for animal feed or not. And it's that situation with the animal feed that we need, because one of the things for animals is to have algae for food for them, animal feed. And another thing, we have a lot of pets now, and they eat meat and vegetables too. And this is one more way, if it's controlled, you can use for animal feed. This is a picture from the Arabic Saudi or Saudi Arabia. They have 252 dams in a place where they don't have rivers. But they are doing them to keep the water when it's raining in the mountains, to keep all the water without be losing desert, without any protection. With this situation, they have water for drinking and water for crops. Our country, without rivers, have 522 dams. How many we need in Western countries that are not thinking about it? We must begin to think what kind of governments we have. This is like water is a problem in the future. Animal feed and human feed is the same. At the time I looked for these leaves if they have protein for animal feed. I didn't find in English, but I found in Portuguese. And they are good for animal feed with a lot of vitamins and things, and also for human food. People find strange, they don't know, but is this situation that every country must begin to look in their countries what things they have that are good for animal feed and human feed. Because leaves and these things can be very good, because all peanuts is something that we can have near all the world production of them. Also, you can change transporting soya. There is another plant we use a lot, but I don't remember now the name. Alfalfa. All together, they can change alfalfa and soy. There is the leaves that are good to eat and for animal feed. This is goji leaves, like peanuts. Goji leaves are very good for healthy, very healthy. It was a cook in China who begins to introduce this and makes one cool activity to have workshops producing this kind of leaves from goji. Goji can give fruits, but there is a kind of goji that don't give fruit and just disease. And it was this chef that makes me to do all of this job. If it was not for him and this situation and milk, I will never do this job that I have now. This is a plant for that can live with salty water. It's Salicornia. And people can eat it, and animals too. Just to say, with salt water, you still can do a lot of things, and must be introduced by a chef for human food properly and animal feed. Bamboo is, when we speak about the environment changing, bamboo for me is this. It's not only the leaves, all the part of the bamboo are good. You see, the panda is eating this part here. It means without to be the leaves, this part is with protein. Molding these things in machines when you use bamboo, you can take a lot of material for animal feed, cows, pigs, chicken. You can use, in some countries that are, a lot of countries can have bamboo, and they have already bamboo in their countries, can be used for animal feed. Lots of people smoke disease is a criminal, is palm oil. But for me, palm oil is a solution to solve the problem of our air. Because palm oil, the roots of this tree, goes far away and can concentrate a lot of carbon in them. And the leaves can be good for an animal feed. With spirulina, that is one of the things very important that I have in agriculture, I'll explain. And with this, you can have a lot of food for animals and oil for people. Because North Africa is saying near the equator line, lots of countries are not having trees. And you can give a big ring north and south of equator line with palm trees. And you need to help the African countries to have it and buy their products. Because it's a kind of product and forest who can save the planet. Because in the north, for example, in Canada, you have a lot of fires. If they are natural or they are done to having the lands after for crops, if they do this or not, I don't know. I just know that the fires there are absolutely crazy, like in Europe. And for experience in my country, that we could have 100 fires per day, sometimes more, every day. It means that the fires don't come from the sky. They come from the humans doing it. Because it's funny to watch on TV. And they are going to put fires, and the fires appears on TV, and is a game between the people who get fires and the TV who shows the fires. Or say, we make so much advancement to the fires that now we have fires everywhere. Is why an oil is one of the things that is not so easy to produce. With this situation, we can solve the problem of the oil in our world. As you see, is a picture how I show Brazil is here. This is very green, is Amazonia. This part is green, but it's without trees. We don't have so many trees. Because if you go by Google, we can see that are not trees, they are fields. But in Africa, people are still burning timber to cooking. In lots of the world, people still use timber for cooking. They don't live in the same way that Westerns live, because they have not money to buy gas to cook. And timber is worse burning than gas. For example, in London, it's not allowed to burn timber. It's quite fun because in other part of UK, you can burn timber to make electricity, and they say that is green. But in London, it's not green. It's the worst thing that you can burn. But as you see, these countries can produce oil palm and increasing their forests. For that, they need to have the maps with Google to begin to do this for everyone to know that they are not using cutting timber from the forests, the old forests, but they are using and making a line, improving the line to stop the Sahara in the future. The burning of trees, I think these are from the Amazonia or from equatorial. But, I will say, what we have here, we have in Canada, is the same or worse. And how do you see? Because we speak too much, but we are not doing anything about fires. They are just burning. What is the reason? I work in the timber. We have a sawmill in the Newcastle forest. It was not the sawmills who were putting the fires. It was people who want to see fires and the TV who wants to increase them to show. But We are doing a lot of carbon with fires, and no one is manning or have equipment for them. Because what I listen in Canada, in one of the problems, they don't have things to stop the fires. The service is to go on. See? In London, we cannot use these things. It's forbidden. You can have a big penalty for using timber in London. Of course, people can do it because no one are going to check it. But is the reason in London. How do you see the smoke? You can have, another thing I got to show you, you can have white smoke and black smoke. And is the things that they burn, the coal, that can do this. If they are old, maybe they are black. If they are modern, they are white. So burning timber or coal, people must have properly things to do that, and modern, not old. See, one more fire. I think this one is eucalyptus. And it's something that is very good for paper, but in fires they are very good for fires too, because they have a kind of resin that they got in fire, a very strong fires. But I see the pollution on the air. It's not only cars that make pollution, fires make pollution. Why we don't have things to stop them fast? Why we don't have strips lines to separate forests, not to burning all the forests? You need to have the strips. I know that from, I'm 64, I was maybe 20 years old. It's a system that they use in Marcelo, is to have a space, not do the fire go from one place to another one. If they have so much timber and fires, they begin to need to do that stripes to stop the fires. One more, you see, you have a lot of things to burn badly, because these things make smoke. That means it's not a good fire. It's not a clean fire. They are making a lot of pollution with CO2 and other chemical gases that go from a bad burning. It's very common in our planet. No one is giving any importance to that. It's just burning. You can die old because you die happy. I took this as a machine learning. It's not what I used to have in the factory that I work. Is to make hot water to dry timber. And they are specialized in this. And we had one of these ones. The burning from this one, it was perfect. The smoke was white. That means they make a good fire, burning everything properly. After we bought a big one, and the smoke was black. It never worked properly and makes a lot of pollution. Of course, it had worked until the end of the factory, that finished. But it's just to show the system to burning, or to make electricity, to make cement, to make burning iron, glass. That glass is not so easy. Is why I think we need to change part of the plastic for plastic, because it makes a lot of pollution too, and it spends a lot of energy. If it's not properly done, the smoke can be black or can be white. This is the things that for cleaning forests and roads and things like that. You can use that for the fields with the rubbish from humans and the cows and pigs mix all together to make fertilizers for fields, and to have improved places that we can have trees, using these things to have more cultural ways to produce. Is how I said agriculture is explained, but this is that now we use it for burning. We have enough crews in our planet to burn. We don't need to use fields, corn, soya to make things to mix with petrol. We have enough crews in our world. We're just making pollution, doing that things, and destroy our planet, is what we are doing. And the cleaning of forests and everything can be doing to do fertilizers, not burning. One more, to do things with timber. We cut a lot of timber. in one of the parts in the plastic, I show boxes for agricultural products that I think the box is more expensive than the fruits that they put inside. But anyway, at the time I spoke only about fruits. But lots of boxes that you are using going with products to supermarkets, to shops, can be done in plastic, not in paper. It's not ecological to do with paper. You are cutting trees to do that. You can say, they grow up. They grow up if there's someone are putting trees there, because the majority of the case is not for trees again. You are just cutting the trees. You are killing our planet, cutting all the trees. The north is without trees. And how we saw in Africa is quite without trees. Just South America and Malaysia and that part of Asia have natural forests with lots of trees. The rest is empty. Africa is one of them. We use this situation. Compost is what we need to do with forests, residual forests, and all of the rest mix with human and animal manure to make products for fertilizers. I find until now 3 ways to produce electricity: by water, by air, by electricity using the name that I said before, that now I cannot remember again. But this week I look in one YouTube. Normally I use YouTube for lots of things. And do you know what kind of diesel now, cruise parts of the cruise are going to the ships that we have? That is one of the worst things, contamination of the environment, is ships in the world. They use the rest that they cannot do, petrol and different things from petrol. The rubbish of that can go to the roads or can go to the ships moving. So you are using the worst part of the chemicals from fuel to make them moving. This is a system that is done from someone. My system is different. We don't use these things here. It's just this part is not only one, but two. One inside the other one, and air must be compressed by air, because the energy that we are going to use is air. Because what gives, I just could discover electricity by electricity, thinking that situation, because the air is the only one you can use 2 parts or 2 pressures from air, for atmospheric air, is not any special air, to produce electricity or moving this aeroplane, cars, lots of things. We have there in the energy electricity. You can watch that program to understand better. Just to say, the air can be used in a closed circuit that you use 2 pressures. For example, for a tank you can use 200 bars, 200 bars. And these two, you must increase after the 100 bars to 200 bars again. It's possible to have everything. We don't need to discover anything. Everything is done. Just not using it to do it properly. I would say, to solve the problems, we need solutions. We don't need to stop the ships. And also we can use air and the ships that we have now with cruise burning. Because you can use the cruise burning to begin to put the ship, and after it begins with the air moving the ship, it will be much easier. But you can use only air to move big ships. This is another thing that is now everybody speaks. Data centers. They spend a lot of energy. We need nuclear, we need everything, because they are going to spend energy and energy. We have a solution. I got one solution for that, to electricity. That any electrician without a degree, a simple electrician that begins without studying, just with practicing, understand how a 20 horsepower engine works and why we can do electricity by electricity using the inertia. I need to write because when I need to speak about inertia, it never comes to my mind. Any electrician can do that without any students. Understand that you can do electricity by electricity if you are using, we call in Portuguese, vazio or empty. That empty is the same that vazio in Portuguese. When we get the under engine that I spoke before, 150 to 7.5 horsepower, and replace for a small engine, an electrician can know that situation that we can do. But you need to go to the tops of the things because we are very simple people. We are not a big enterprise. Our knowledge is not important at all. You can do what you want. I'm just saying the problem with my system and all my work is the loss of jobs. But it's to save the planet, and you need to reorganize the way of living, earning money in the world too, with that situation that I have done. Another situation like the things to collect plastic glass that I had in the beginning is to have these machines in some communities to pack them and concentrate them. This is paper or cartoon, I think we say cartoon in English. Paper. And you can have it for plastic too. And after you can go to a different center. Say small village that you are not collecting, you can have them to collect the things, plastic and paper. Amazing price of old plastic and sack making by chef. You can see this one. Just go to YouTube, everything from YouTube, and you see how they do that. All the plastic can be recycled. And in my things of plastic, I give lots of solutions to do that. This is for different things. Obviously, tires. You have lots of things beginning. The problem is to do and to begin to do this in the whole world. Because now it just goes. It's good for one thing, but never goes up because no one pays attention in the rest of the world. It just disconnects information and how to do the things. I think how to buy in building roads to last 100 years. Short video, shorts without video. It's plastic. They can feel this and after because it's sand. This helps not to move the sands under the street. But also is a solution for many roads without crude on the top. Because these things can making like as stones that we use in past to make roads, we recycle the same. When we fill this with a product, after we have a better road without problems, without crude. Crude again, all you see is funny and easy to make walls. But the problem is to close them. Because, for example, I know from North America, they are not closing them. They still have walls that they did 100 years ago or 25, 150 years old, open. Doing what? The methane that they are creating, they go to atmospheric. From 150 years ago, they are still open to close. Is why the problem of the pollution is a problem of the states. What to do, what states are doing good, what they are not doing. I say, life in the planet is the shoes of the people. This is in Portuguese. I found I was with curiosity, what is the air that we breathe? Nitrogen. We breathe 78 nitrogen and 21 oxygen. And we need to have more oxygen, and so we will later, the animals, when our planet has a lot of oxygen, how big they are. Oh, they are here. Do you think dinosaurs were big? What was the reason for them to be so big? Oxygen. The atmosphere at that time was so big in oxygen that they grow. The oxygen that we have now, don't forget, you are burning. When we are cooking, burning gas, we are fires in the forest. when a car is moving, anything that is moving is spent oxygen. Humans, we spend oxygen too. If you stay in a closed place and you don't have fresh air, you are going to use all the oxygen in place. Because all of the animals, humans too, we breathe oxygen and we burn it. And they died all because a big fire erupted with a meteorite from the skies, and it was the end of them. And another cycle begins. But from that fire, we lost a lot of oxygen too, because everything is burning, is taking oxygen. A car, when is burning petrol, petrol without oxygen don't work to make the car moving. If it's not oxygen, we don't have a car moving. It's how important to have trees, to have more oxygen in the world. Because from this time until now, we don't have enough oxygen. This is a funny picture, but how do you see? There was a lot of plants. It's why we have a lot of plants and animals. It's why we have a lot of trees nowadays in place 1,000 meters low in on Earth, sometimes more, from the past. The times that the land moved from one time to another. This is how we need to have our skies. And my admiration from the sun, that I think will be, I finish this program now, from the sun God, that I don't believe in any gods, but if I have to believe, is in sun God. Because he's the only one who didn't change from the old times, from these times of the Aztecas, from the pharaohs. The sun is exactly the same. It's the earth we are changing, not the sun. And it's the end of the program from today. Maybe in the future I'll do a little more. But for now I go to rest a time without doing anything of this. But I just think in electricity, and I need to finish talking about electricity. I think to go, yeah. It's the hand. Thank you very much to watch the program.